Genesis of the story. I felt like we needed a story that would kind of bridge the academic stuff that we'd done and some more audience-friendly material. So I felt like historical pieces in early Utah would be a nice little bridge. And I'd always been fascinated by the stories of early Utah, the mid 1800s to about the 1880s. So as I went through various stories, here was this story of this ghoul of Salt Lake. So I read his story, and I found that he had been, a major focus of attention for everybody in the territory, including Brigham Young, who addressed the issue in the tabernacle. But as I read more about this grave robber that he'd robbed 300 graves, here's a fellow that is taken and thrown onto an island surrounded by water, and he can't drink any of it. And sometimes for those who are the tough ones to love, we surround them with those who ought to be sharing kindnesses and humanity, and they deny the individual right in their midst all of those nourishing things. So we strengthen others, but we also are asked to be with them. And so I felt like in this case, it was a guy who was with him, for this strange and understandably contemptible guy, in the true sense of that word. He was certainly deserved the contempt of other people for what he did. So we're not trying to justify his actions in any way, but we are trying to say, well, what do you do once that's happened? Once somebody has done that? Then all of a sudden, here's this Henry Heath, and I thought, well, now this guy actually interests me as much as the ghoul, because it goes back to the Porter Rockwell days. They have this governor, this federally appointed governor who comes in. Nobody trusts the federal government, and they chase him out of town and they seriously injure him. And Rockwell, who knew enough to know what happens with federals when you attack them, said, we can't let these guys just wander off. So they went and they got him and shot them. But Henry Heath was the one who bought this Roan Clausen, who had attacked the governor and was shot and killed. He bought him a suit. He was just going to be buried in the clothes he was shot in, and Henry Heath said, I can't do that. So he bought him a suit. They buried him. And there was something very Christian about that to me. When they went to claim the body, they were aghast because he had nothing on. He had no suit. There was no coffin. He was in a hole. And so they went to Heath, accused him, and this all came from Henry Heath's own writings. And we spoke to Henry Heath's great-grandson, I believe. And he said they wish they had more journal from Henry Heath. He wrote sparsely, but what he wrote was really instrumental because he had firsthand experience. And then from other accounts, I find out that Heath went out there to take him these supplies. Now, his own daughter was potentially one of the graves that this guy had robbed. He almost shot him on the spot. In his own account, he says if he had said he robbed his daughter's grave, he would have shot him. But he didn't. So I thought, I like this Henry Heath fellow. It's very easy to be kind and generous and loving to people who are kind and generous and loving to you. It's a bigger trick when they do something that you find reprehensible or offensive or difficult. And those are the people that in the Christian ideology we're told to love. And that's hard. That's really advanced graduate level stuff. So I felt like I needed that reminder, and if I needed that reminder, maybe somebody else needed that reminder.